Warcraft Total War Kingdoms. Alright, so I did a video 2 or 3 days ago where I spoke about changes in the Warcraft Total War Classic Edition that they released like 5 days ago, or it was 3 days ago. Anyway, I need to continue that video because I weren't done. So we'll go to Hot Seat campaign, Reign of Chaos. You could also go to the single player campaign, Reign of Chaos, but I always play the Hot Seat one. Alright, so in the previous video I spoke about all the factions in this campaign, and I also showed off all the new units in the custom battle menu and played a battle with undead ones, the new ones for the undead and some extras, and you also saw the intro of the mod, a very old intro from 2017. I made back in 2017. I hadn't watched it in forever, so I felt like watching it. Anyway, we'll start the campaign of the Reign of Chaos Warcraft 3 main campaign with the fewer factions playable, and we will see if they have any changes. We will start the campaign as everybody. Alright. There are more changes in the campaign in the Frozen Throne campaign. We'll start this one first, as we had forgotten to do this previously. I also forgot to check the Troll factions, their units. I only checked, I believe, the Amani Troll faction in terms of units in custom battle. And there are also the Farak Trolls, the Drakari Trolls and the Gurbashi Trolls that we didn't check, but they have the same units. They're new, the Troll Long Spears, and the Troll Ballista shared with others with different models or skins. And then they have the new Dire Trolls shared with their money. So they have nothing new except those 3 that we already saw for their money. The only difference is that they have a different skin for the other factions, or a different model. I believe the Troll Long Spears have different models between the giant trolls and the smaller trolls. So the Gurbashi and the Farak, for example, they have the smaller troll with just a difference of being, I believe they use different skin. And then the bigger trolls, the Drakari and the Amani trolls, they have a different model compared to the Gurbashi and the Faraki. Then they have a different skin between each other. Okay, so we have this Garrison Scripts event at the beginning of the game. We will exit. So Kingdom of Lordaeron, they started only 12 regions instead of 15 regions in the old version. They removed I believe 3 regions from Lordaeron because they were too powerful and would always win against the Scourge, and we are a bit too powerful, so we didn't want that. So instead we're given some regions to Terramore. We can see Gilneas here used to be a rebel area that would usually be taken by Lordaeron or Stromgarde in the campaign, and instead I gave it to Terramore from the start. More on that later. And we can see Terramore's colors in Dalaran as well. Dalaran was Lordaeron's best region. It's a minor city, I believe, and unlike Lordaeron itself, they have a lot of good troops available, including elite troops. Dalaran is unique because from Dalaran they can not just get the Dalaran regional troops, which are just like basic troops, but or medium troops, but better than the normal ordinary troops. For example, they have the Dalaran footmen or sergeants that are slightly better than the Lordaeron ones and look different with a different texture. But the main reason Dalaran as a city is very important for Lordaeron is that they have access to the high elven units there, the spellbreakers and the priests of the sun, and the elven sorceresses, females, and they have Dragonhawk knights and phoenixes from there. They cannot get from any other region, and they can get, I believe, elven rangers from the elven lands. But yeah, they have a bunch of unique units from Dalaran that made them very strong, including, I believe, if they upgrade it to the fullest, they can get golems there, mud golems. And yeah, by removing this area from Lordaeron, they remove their strongest units, and that will weaken them a lot in the campaign. Can still get this area, For example, if the Scourge or an evil faction takes the area, the Scourge, the Undead, or the Mani Trolls, they have presence here, here, and down here. If the Mani Trolls or the Undead Scourge take Dalaran, then Lordaeron can of course take it back. They could also end up in a war with their ally Theramore, which is not as likely but could happen in medieval too. Then they can also take it. Unlike Lordaeron, Theramore cannot get all those elven units from Lordaeron. They can get the Dalaran unique troops, but not the elite elven units. They are unique to Lordaeron from that area. And so essentially I weaken Lordaeron by giving 3 areas from Lordaeron to Theramore. I mean 2 areas. I gave Manitail to Theramore because no, I gave 3 areas. So Dalaran was 1 area held by Lordaeron with the Archmage Antonidas. There he was the teacher of Jaina Pradmore, the leader of Theramore. He never joined Theramore in the expedition to Kalimdor, but he was kind of her friend and teacher and such, and he didn't join with Lordaeron either. I believe in the main mod we made Dalaran a rebel area to weaken Lordaeron. Instead I gave them to Theramore here. We gave Theramore Boralus, where Jaina's father is, Dalen Proudmore, and we gave Manithil to Theramore, where her brother and Dalen's son Tandred Proudmore is. So essentially Jaina's family holds these 2 areas. We gave them to Theramore, and then they got Dalaran, the area of the Archmage teacher of Jaina, as a bonus, and Gilneas was a rebel held area that was given to Theramore in this version. Theramore in the old version has access to a bunch of units like the Gilnean troops and the Quel'Thalas troops. It made sense to give her and Theramore the Quel'Thalas areas and the Gilneas areas. Didn't make as much sense to give Dalaran, but I did it anyway. That way, when you play the human expedition Theramore, you can essentially play as Theramore over here. They start here. This is Theramore, the Isle, and fight here against rebels and the Horde and goblins and others. And then you also control her father and brother here, and can do stuff here like protect against the Dark Horde or help in the war against the Dark Horde and the Mani Trolls, or here help fight the Scourge, but the Undead. But yeah, it's like you play Theramore and you have access to the areas of the Gilnean troops and the Quel'Thalas troops and the Dalaran troops. Dalaran was a bonus, but it made sense with Gilneas and Quel'Thalas because Theramore has their unique units from the main area of Theramore. They followed Jaina to Kalimdor, some of the Gilneas and Quel'Thalas troops. So Quel'Thalas is essentially the minor kingdom of her father, Dalen Proudmore, of which her brother Tandred Proudmore is the heir, I believe. So it made sense that Quel'Thalas belongs to Theramore instead of Lordaeron, even though they were a part of Lordaeron, kind of a vassal of Lordaeron or something. But because we wanted to weaken Lordaeron, they were too strong, and Gilneas was a rebel area, made more sense to give it to Theramore too. And Dalaran bonus. So that enables a Theramore player to also control these factions, Quel'Thalas and Gilneas and Dalaran in Lordaeron. So you're not just playing as Theramore, but also as Quel'Thalas, Gilneas and Dalaran. And that weakened Lordaeron because they lost their best area, where they get all the elven units. Doesn't have it from the start. So Lordaeron, the only change is that they do not have access to certain regions anymore, and also I believe that they have some new mercenaries like the Highlander Auxiliary Brigade and the Cavalry. They were not available before. Previously you only had sword and board guys in this area, for example. This is the older version. We still have the Argent Dawn guys, and they have water elementals and Talon Archmagi and Talon Mages available as mercenaries. Yeah. So the Lordaeron faction have become a bit weaker. Stormwind, the King of Stormwind. They should also have some new mercenaries, but some of the mercenaries are not available in the early game. You need to play a bit before you get them, but they have access to some Elven and I believe Elven Rangers, from their starting areas, and as mercenaries and as regionals, and they have access to Dwarven mercenaries in Stormwind's areas too. Small mercenaries essentially. Otherwise no change, I believe, except I renamed this place to Sunny Glade instead of Raven Hill, like we did in the main release. It's named Sunny Glade instead. In the Frozen Throne campaign it's named Raven Hill still, and is held by Undead rebels. It's Sunny Glade, then it would belong to the Stormwind. Alright. Terramore human expeditions. They had one area in the past, now they have 5. They start with Terramore itself, which is a minor city in this campaign and a huge city in the Frozen Throne campaign. They have no buildings constructed in this campaign, because this is a campaign that is intended to be like they've just arrived to Kalimdor, so they have nothing built. They have armies under some generals and some mercenaries available. The mages, the sword and board guys, eagles, and Wildhammer Rangers to get more when you play a bit, including some new ones. And yeah, we have the Granite Darkhammer with the Gilnean army, including some Stormguard troops and Knights of Tyr from Lordaeron. We have the Wildhammer Dwarves, Gnome, Mech Warriors, Eagles, and Malak the Avenger. He has Terramore army, including Paladins and Terramore Golden Pikes and Terramore Cataphracts. We have Visor Tervosh. He has some water elementals and more of the Lordaeron troops, including the Silverpine Rangers, unique rangers from the Silverpine Forest outside of Lordaeron, the Elven Forest. So they have been trained. They are humans, but they have been trained by the elves. They are the best archers a human faction can get that aren't elves. We also have some Elven Rangers. They are better because they are elves. Okay, and then we have Quel'Thalas Force. In the past, when you played the Terramore in this campaign, you only had Terramore and these armies, and you had nothing else. But now you have gotten Boralus, the seat of her father, Daelin Pradmore. And it's a minor city, so it's a pretty good location. Lots of troops available, including the Quel'Thalas minor faction troops, some Gilnean claymores and Elven Rangers, Silverpine Rangers, etc. Dwarven Riflemen. We have Daelin Pradmore, can get some mercenaries here too. Here's a bodyguard of Quel'Thalas horsemen in this version. He's the leader of Quel'Thalas, minor faction. We moved the army of Boralus here to Manethill, where his son and Jaina's brother, Tenred Pradmore, is. Here's a bodyguard of Knight's bodyguard. He didn't get the Quel'Thalas bodyguard for some reason. He has some Terramore troops, sergeants, footmen, but mostly he has a Quel'Thalas army. He has some Dwarven Riflemen too and Eagles. So yeah, you have like Terramore Quel'Thalas troop force here. That they were supposed to have the city here and a port, but I believe the port didn't work. I believe they have a port after I moved the city here. When it was here, it was a bug, so no one could go there. That's why it was changed back in 2017. Otherwise, the city used to be located here before we released the mod. It was supposed to be on that little island, so it would have been more accurate, but we are bug that the port didn't work. Okay, so we have an army in Manethill, would help Stromgard, because Terramore is allied to the Kingdom of Lordaeron, Kingdom of Stormwind, the Dwarves of Khaz'Modan, the Kingdom of Khaz'Modan, Kingdom of Quel'Thalas, the High Elves, the Kingdom of Stromgard, and this version the trade coalition is allied with many, because it's the best way of preventing them from warring against factions they shouldn't war against, because they are neutral in lore, and being neutral in Medieval 2 means they will be attacked. So the AI in Medieval 2 treats neutral factions like Germany treated neutral factions in World War 2. Essentially they will attack them immediately. But by being allied you prevent them from attacking as long as possible. So they're supposed to be neutral, but they are allied for that reason, and they are allied to both evil factions like the Dark Horde and good factions like the Kingdom of Stormwind. Okay. To prevent them from warring against both sides, and by putting the alliances before the campaign start, they won't have to pick a side during the campaign. Unless the other factions... So, for example, if the trade coalition is not allied to these factions and then ally the Horde and Stormwind, and then the Horde and Stormwind goes to war against each other, then they have to pick a side. But if we have them allied from the start with both sides, and these sides already are at war at start, which they are, then goblins won't have to pick a side between them and can be allied to both, which is good. Okay, so we have Terramore, the new minor city, and with a town. These two kingdoms. And then we have Gilneas. It was a rebel settlement, but now they are part of Terramore. Again, Greymane being their leader. Yes, a Gilnean horseman bodyguard. They have the Gilnean army. They can't recruit anything because no structures are constructed, but can build up and get the Gilnean troops from this area only. And then they have Dalaran, another minor city with Antonidas. And I gave him a new bodyguard, the Mounted Archmagi. The reason they didn't have that previously is because this unit was unique to Terramore. It wasn't available for Lordaeron, so that's why they didn't have it. He used to have the, I believe, the Dalaran horseman melee light cavalry unit, but now they have the proper Archmagi. That's the bodyguard of Jaina, and there was no reason to not give it to Antonidas as well. And he is a part of the same faction. So yeah, they have some new troops, and here they had an army, including the Dalaran unique troops. But unlike Lordaeron, they do not have access to a lot of elven units. They have the Rangers, of course, and all Terramore units with unique skin, but they do not have the most others. They do have the Gilnean Claymores, the one unique Gilnean unit from more areas than just Gilneas, but most others are only available from Gilneas. Yeah, so Terramore cannot get the elves, it seems. Let's see, the mines conservation. They have the mage study, they can get the conjurers and Dalaran mages. These guys, they have mages. They can probably upgrade it later when they get a huge city. So we can check. Magic. Conjurers and Dalaran mages from the first one. Huge city, then can get this one, Mage's Tower. They have the mage study now. They get Terramore Archmagi, Dalaran mages, Dalaran Archmagi, and mages. Here they had only conjurers and Dalaran mages. And then they get the mages and Dalaran Archmagi and the Terramor Archmagi. And then in the final building, the Arcane Sanctum, they get Water Elementals. Mounted Archmagi can be recruited here. And they get the Mud Golems. They have like all the human mages, including some unique ones for Terramor, like the Terramor Archmagi and the Mounted Archmagi, which is Mounted Terramor Archmagi. Have a unique skin for Terramor. They do not get the elves. If Lordran had this place, they would also get the elven units divided between these 3 towers. So that's why it's more important for Lordran to have that area, but it also made Lordran much stronger when they had it from the start. So I thought by giving it to Terramor that we would weaken Lordran quite a bit. They needed to be weaker, and by giving them Gilneas, Lordran wouldn't take the area, so it would also weaken them. And then giving them these 2 areas would also help. This area is far away anyway and isolated. There was no need for it to be a part of Lordran. Even if it's named Menethil, the surname of the king of Lordran, and Artus the prince. And then Borrelus, the Isle. Usually Isles are never attacked, so they are pretty safe here. I've seen, however, that they can be taken. The Dark Horde have taken it once or so. The Dark Irons maybe once, but it's not impossible for them to go and send a fleet and take this area, but it happens rarely. Can happen though. But by removing these areas, Lordran is more likely to be destroyed, which was the intended point. So they have 5 areas instead of 1 in the Reign of Chaos campaign, and Lordran has 12 areas instead of 15. This area was Rebel, so the Rebels lost 1 area to Terramor. The Wars of Khaz'Modan, I believe they only have their core areas here. And Air Peak, they have nothing new. Might have access to a few new mercenaries in the campaign. King of Quel'Thalas, the High Elves.
My men are ready to fight, my lord.
They hold the same areas they used to. I don't believe they have anything new here. The Dark Iron Dwarves have the areas they used to as well. Nothing new in this campaign. Maybe new mercenaries, maybe not. Dark Horde. No, they have new stuff in the Frozen Throne campaign, but not in this campaign. Here they hold Blackrock Spire, their capital, and they hold Dreadmal Rock, and they hold Altar's Mill. Then they hold Grim Battle far away. And yeah, they do not have anything new in this campaign, I believe, except maybe units. And the Kingdom of Astiel Nerub, Spider Kingdom, weird spiders that look like this. Anyway, they do not have anything new here. Night Elves, they have Illidan in this campaign. They do not have anything new in this campaign, I believe. Undead Scourge, of course they have some new stuff. First of all, there are rebel enemies here, Valkyr, I believe. There are quite many. The Valkyr, it's rebels here, enemies, for the Scourge to fight. They have an entire arm of Valkyr here, Valkyrion. It made sense. They have the Orc Skeletons available. I don't know why the picture doesn't show there in this screen, but it does show when we add a unit here. Maybe because they are not mercenaries, they do not have the mercenary line. Maybe that's why. Okay. And I believe should be able to get Valkyrie in this area, but maybe not in the early game. And they should have armies in the Eastern Kingdoms too. No mercenaries available in the early game at least. They will probably get that later. don't believe they had any new regions here. They do have some new units available, including the Icebound Bone Raids, and they have access to Valk here. They have the Right-Wing Vindicators, unlike in the other version. Yeah. Mages are down here because they are much cheaper, only 100, and very little upkeep, but they have time to recruit 10 turns instead, and that's true for all the casters or mages. Because it's so unfair in Total War that the AI would actually recruit them when they had exactly those costs, but in Warcraft the AI would never recruit them except the Hydromancers, I believe, the Fraki Trolls. They were they were recruited, so I hope to make the AI recruit mages more often, which worked. I checked the campaign after playtesting many times and a few days ago, and they are recruiting all types of gunners and casters now because they are cheaper. They take longer to recruit instead. We have these guys too. So yeah, they have some new units and stuff. Drakari Trolls, they certainly have some new units. They have the Troll Long Spears, new unit. The mages are cheaper. So this is a minor city, they need a huge city to get their best stuff still. So they do not have the Diet Trolls yet, and they do not have their final mage. Yeah, they have some new units and stuff. I don't believe they had any new regions. No Stromguard. They have no new regions, 3 regions at the start.
Do not fear.
No new strat models.
I am here.
They do have a new officer model for Amaran and High Niles of Stromguard. Same as in latest version of the mod. They have a different bodyguard here. Access to the Highlanders now from Stromguard. They have the Red Legion of Storm dismounted. It's a bodyguard for Amaran and like in the past, and Red Legion of Storm Cavalry for the Neos. We also have access to these mercenaries and can recruit troops, including these guys. The Highlanders are also regular troops of Stromguard, mercenaries for the other humans and mercenaries from Stromguard, but they are only mercenaries for the others. Okay. Stromguard has some new units, mercenaries and such. Some different units compared to the other version. The Faraki Trolls. I know that I fixed the raptors, they were not in the recruitment previously. Now they can get them as mercenaries, but they can also recruit them, I believe. Yeah, they are available here. They weren't in the past. The mages are more easily available. They all have the same costs. Alright. We have a minor city in this campaign, a huge city in the Frozen Throne campaign. We have some mercenaries. Carry trolls. Now the main difference is that the Ankarai faction is gone, so they won't have to fight the Ankarai. That gives the Fraki the ability to conquer a lot of areas here. They still have the goblins here to fight, and that means they can expand here and only fight rebels. And I believe they have access to Grim Totems as mercenaries in this area, and regional troops from Grim Totem areas, and Filbor mercenaries in this area and regionals. They are stronger in that sense, and they have Diet Trolls, but only from the huge city, I believe, not from the minor city. They have Scorpions too. They are strong. They have the long spears. forgotten the unit info card. The troll. There, I know it exists. Okay. The horde. In this campaign they have only the 3 starting areas. The old oak units. Nothing really new here in this campaign. Except maybe mercenaries and such. Nothing available at the start. Wilbur rebels here. Centaurs in that area. Alright. Running Legion. Started a dark portal. They have Verimatras and Mal'Ganis here. Nothing new from the older versions. Skeletons and orc necrolites. Have some demons and other mercenaries. Didn't get any new regions. They start in both continents in this version. Ascalor. Cantar mercenaries. Monde. Theron. And Khaz'Modan. So they have some unique heroes. We have Legion Commander Manor here. Alright, they didn't get any new regions here. In the Frozen Throne campaign they do have that. The Gurbash Troll tribe, they start with only their capital, Silgarub here. They do have some new units, not in their garrisons but in their recruitment. They have the Troll Long Spears, of course. They forgot their unit info card. We'll have to add it later at some point. Their mages now are cheaper and are moved down because it's based on the cost. And they have the Scorpions, new heavy cavalry unit. They weren't in this version before. The skin of the Farak one, used by the rebels in the past and now used by the Gurbash too. And are available to the Amani and the Drakari if they take Faraki or Gurbash lands, and we'll have the Gurbash skin because it fits the Drakari dice trolls, the blue scorpion, and there are 2 colors, blue and green in this one. So the green one fit the Amani trolls, the forest trolls over here. All the Faraki trolls are yellow and red, and it fit the Faraki. So this one fit the other 3 essentially. They're only available for the Gurbashi as a regular unit because the Amani trolls and the Drakari trolls are other heavy cavalry units. The Amani trolls are bear cavalry and the Drakari they also have bears, I believe. The Amani even have the Sky Chasers, Dragonhawk cavalry. Alright, so they have some new units and mercenaries. They have the Sandalari mercenaries. They are stronger. Money trolls. They also have the long spears. Mages move down. Alright. They all have the troll ballistas too. Some mercenaries, they get some Lari mercenaries later. And no new areas. The goblins, they have a lot of changes to the units, as said in the previous video. Changes to their projectiles and such. But their units, their good range units have been moved down. They are sheep, they are artificers, same as mages. They have access to the highwaymen. And I believe either I forgot this unit info card or it did not exist. Yeah, this one is like a mage gunner shooting lasers. It has the same costs and 10 turns recruitment. The rockets are actually good now. We have the Slave dragon turtles do not get their mages until they get a huge city, a large city now. Okay, they have some changes. They also hold more areas in this campaign. They hold Booty Bay. Start the capital Undermine. Start. They have Gadget San, Mud Sprocket, Ratchet, and have a look. We also have an area in Northern Venture Bay, and now because we have no recall here, they can expand here without problems. They still have the same situation in Eastern Kingdoms against the rebels and the Gulbar trolls, and here they still have the same situation with the Ferraki trolls and the rebel pirates and such. We can also move in here. Unlike on the new map, there is no path between this area and the Ferraki. They need to go through the goblins to get there. Alright, but the Ferraki have a reason to go this way because there are lots of rebels there. Okay, so the goblins will have an easier time in this campaign if they decide to expand in Northrend. So there are no Scarlet Crusade and no recall. They do have the ice trolls, the Rakari trolls over here, the nearest enemy. And then they have the Nerubians here, spiders, and then the undead. So there are fewer factions here now. 4 factions. Way more rebels. The rebels, they start with 96 regions. You can see that all the recall areas have become rebel. And the Naga areas are rebel. And areas in the middle too. There are no horde and no dwarves. And most of Kalimdor is rebel. See that the Ankrai generals still here and troops, but they are rebel. They won't be much of a threat. They will hold out for a while, but they will not be conquering half the map or half of Kalimdor. Alright, we're done here. That's the changes in the early Reign of Chaos campaign, the main Warcraft 3 campaign. We go to custom battles and late, then we select Rocket Trolls, the Battle Trolls, and Rakari Trolls. You can also select their money, but I've already seen them in the past. But anyway, I showed them in the previous videos. We have the Ferraki Trolls here. We can see that the new unit, the fresh unit, is the Riot Trolls. Tried with the other trolls, they have different skins per faction. And then we have the Trad Ballista. They share the crew with the Gurbashi, but with a different skin. They also share the unit slot with the Drakari and Amani, but they have a completely different model. We also have the Kodo Riders, written by Grim Totem Tauren. So they have access to the Grim Totem Taurens, the only troll faction that has access to these. These two are mercenaries and regionals, and this is a new unit for this version, used in the same way. A reskin of the Horde Kodo Riders that replaces the Orc Rider with the Grim Totem Tauren Rider. We also have access to the Quillboars as mercenaries and regionals, I believe, in the campaign, unlike before. The main difference is because I believe this stuff is also available to them in the main release, and then but the Diet Roll is completely new. It's a completely new unit for this version of the mod. Not available in other versions. We have the Gurbashi Jungle Trolls, they also have the Long Spears, they have the Diet Troll, they have the Ballista. Yeah, these are also available in the main release. This is new. And we have the Dracari Trolls. They have the long spears, the ballista, and they also have a new war mammoth to replace the old mammoth. They have the old dire trolls. You need to select all for the new dire troll to show up, I believe, but this one is slightly weaker. I like the style of it. I like the face more. It looked more old school, classic. Yeah, it's a different unit in this version. The other one is supposed to replace this unit in the main release. And this one replaced old mammoth. And this is a new mammoth with the static rider. It's in the main release, and this is all of them are in the main release. Only the new dire troll is new for this one. I mean, all of them are new for this release, but only the dire troll is a new model that isn't from the other version, so to speak. It will be in that version too. We have the money, they have the dire troll too. So this dire troll is unreleased in the main release as of yet. We have the Lista, and they have the the throw long spears. So those are the facts we forgot to check previously. Multiplayer, what's it? Frozen Throne. Right, this is the Frozen Throne campaign. I forgot to disable the slave faction. Alright, so we can see the Kingdom of Lordran. In this campaign they have only one area. They start with only Dalaran, but the map doesn't reflect that. They are led by this guy, Marshal Utmar. He's named King in the campaign just because we didn't make a different mode for the second campaign, and so the faction shares the titles of the leader with the other campaign where we have King Terinas Menetil and Prince Artus Menetil. So that means this guy is named King Utmar, and the heir is named Prince whatever, Prince Magrot or something, but his real title is Marshal Gartus or Utmar, because he was the highest man still in Lordran, the marshal of the army, but he is not the king. It's possible to give him the proper title, I believe, if he used some traits or so, but I seldom touch traits. They usually cause instability and stuff. Okay, so you can play as Lordran and others. We have Stormwind still ruled by Varian Rin. We have Terramore, Human Expedition, still ruled by Jaina Proudmore, Archmage. And we have Khaz'Modan Dwarves, still ruled by King Magni Bronzebeard. We have the Dark Iron Dwarves, still ruled by Dagran Taurisan. Dark Horde, still ruled by Rend. The Kingdom of Azul Nerub, still ruled by Anubarak. And the Night Elves, still ruled by Malfurion and co-leader Thranduil. And we have the Scourge, the Undead, still ruled by Lich King Ner'zhul, the Orc, former Orc leader. Oh, I did disable these factions and select them again. Okay. Dracari Troll still ruled by the same guy. Stromgard still ruled by the same guy, and Dracari Troll Tribe still ruled by the same guy. The Horde ruled by Warchief Troll. I said Chieftain in the previous video, but the correct title is Warchief for the Orcs of the Horde. They are called War Chiefs. Forgot that in the previous video. The Burning Legion, they are not ruled by Archimonde in this campaign, Lord Archimonde. They are instead ruled by Kil'jaeden, another demon lord. And we have of course the Gurbash trolls. Same leader, the trade coalition with the same leader. And then we have the Mani trolls led by Sullian, the known troll. Then we have the new factions. So the first faction would be the Ankrai faction led by the twin emperors, Quel'Thalas and the other. And they start down here. They have only one area to start, because when they started with all of their areas, like in the previous release from October 31st, 2024, used this map. I believe that they had all their areas, 4 areas here and 1 area over here. It took no time for them to conquer half the map. So I removed all the areas except their capital and made the others rebel with huge garrisons. So now they need to fight the rebels first. And also they had quite the forces at the start. They reduced all their forces to a minimum. So they need to now first build up their forces and then take the rebels that are guarded by huge stacks. So it will take them quite a while until they have built up their army and conquered the rebels in these areas. So it will take them a long time before they start expanding, and by that time the Iraqi trolls and the Burning Legion, the Horde, Terramore and others, they have expanded quite a bit by that point. So the Ankrai have been nerfed, made them weaker at the start. They are in this campaign, and they are one of the strongest factions. They are Swarm faction. They are very dangerous because of their numbers, but in the beginning of the game they are very weak because they have very few units. They have all their generals, of course, and one area that is a huge city, but no buildings are built at the start. And they have the generals with the bodyguards, but they do not have many troops. They have the mage bodyguard, which is dangerous, but otherwise they have maybe 5 units to start, very basic units. I also changed one thing with the faction. I believe I changed the animation of the I believe the Satura hero, the Ankrai female hero. I removed her as a custom model because she was bugged. She uses a very unique animation, and instead I believe I added the Karaji Slayers as her bodyguard and added an officer to that unit that is the Karaji Slayer. So when you use her bodyguard, she has an officer that represents her, but it's not really the general in battle. And I fixed the animation of that general, so it's no longer two-handed, so she won't crash. Okay, so the Karaji are back, and then we have the Regal Norseman Giants. They are not placed out on the map, because I suck at painting stuff. I could probably do it now. I believe in Warcraft Total War I painted an area on the map for Faerun, for the Kingdom of Imputer. I can do it now, but I'm not the best. So in this faction's case we never did it, because it was Sulfurion that did the old map for all these factions, and this faction was added in 2019, I believe. Late 2018 we added this faction to December 2018 we added this faction to the custom battle menu, and then with all the units and such, and then except the new ones, and then in February 2019 I added them to the campaign and never touched this file, the map file. So Furion, one of the team members, he made the starting locations and art and such in 2017 and early 2018, I believe, up until the release of April 23rd, 2018. So because he did that, it was down here, because it was only me and Fmunds that modded the mod in 2019. Alright, so the Regal, the Norseman Giants, they are like Vikings, but they are Giants. They have access to dragons and drakes and such. And mages. They start over here in Northrend, and they are back in this campaign. And unlike in earlier versions of the mod, they have new units, including the Valkyr, and there's 2 new units besides them. like smaller male vehicle units or vehicle units. Alright, they are back. Another faction in Northrend and another faction in Kalimdor. Then we have, of course, the Naga faction led by Illidan Stormrage, Demon Hunter. They have areas in Northrend and in Kalimdor and on this isle. They are strong. They have the dragon turtles still in this version of the mod. I removed them from the faction in the other one because I wanted the dragon turtles to be unique to the goblins. Because this faction still has the ancient dragon turtles, but I kept them in this version because they are more common than others. Alright, and a bit weaker. Anyway, they are a strong faction. Okay, and they are new for this campaign. They are not new for this mod, they've been in the mod forever, but they have some new units. They have the Naga Matriarch Bodyguard as a unit as well now. The Naga Matriarchs, they've been added as a unit on their own. It wasn't done in the past. Probably because when the trades didn't work between 2021 and 2024, and you recruited a bodyguard, you got the Naga Matriarchs unit, and they weren't a general. Now when the traits work in the mod, this makes that unit a general, because it's a bodyguard, and so you get general when you recruit that unit, and so they needed a new entry for the normal unit. I needed to free up space for it. I removed, I believe, one of the heroes of the Dark Horde to free up space. I believe I removed Black Hand. I also removed the Orgrim Doomhammer and Gul'dan previously for other units, and removed Kilrog Deadeye as well for the Horde to free up space. So the Naga are available faction, and then we have of course the Forsaken. They do not hold all of this, they hold two areas, Brill and Nordron itself. They have all the new units we saw in the previous video, and the fixed Sylvanas model such. When I colored this green, I believe I just used the Lordron card and then recolored it. Of course we could probably use a different one and make it more proper, but we would need a picture that doesn't have any colors spaced out. Okay, so the Forsaken is in this campaign as well. They start in Lordron. And then we have the Scarlet Crusade, led by Seidan Datrahan. And unlike in the previous version, they do have battle models of Seidan and Sally Whitemane, High Inquisitor Sally Whitemane in battle, like in the main release, and they also have them on the map now, which isn't the case in the main release, but they will be added there as well. Okay, so this faction starts in Northrend in this campaign and has a citadel there, the highest level of a castle, and they have no fleet anymore, because I saw when people play this campaign that they would take the troops, put them in the ships and move back to Eastern Kingdoms, and that wasn't intended. The intention was that they had been shipwrecked here at the Scarlet Fleece, all that, and that they needed to defend against the undead and couldn't return unless you built a new fleet, which will take a while. So now you're forced to defend yourself against the Reekel, the Goblins, the Nerubians, the Drakari Trolls, and the Undead Scourge, their main enemy. They went there to fight the Scourge, the Undead, in a crusade. They do not have their fleet anymore, so they are stuck here, and they will need to build up their fleet before they can return to the Eastern Kingdoms, which I felt was more fun. We also have access to more mercenaries, including the Highlanders in this area. Yeah, that's the difference, and we can check the map too. There are some differences there as well. You need to have everybody selected. Hopefully everyone is selected. Let's start the game. Oh, I will not activate the script for garrisons. To the Kingdom of Lordaeron. We have only one region here. They are allied with the King of Stormwind, Human Expedition Terramore, Wars of Khaz'Modan and the King of Stormguard. They have Magroth here. It's not really a prince. We have Halak Lifebringer over here. You can hire mercenaries. We have King Otmar faction leader. I believe that we had Warcraft Forsaken. They were allied against the demons when they or Scourge, I believe it was the demons when they took back Lordaeron. Then they started to fight. I believe in lore Sylvanas killed King Otmar, Marshal Otmar, and took Lordaeron. So essentially they were allied against the Scourge and the Legion and took back Lordaeron. Then Sylvanas had promised Marshal Otmar he would get Lordaeron, but then she betrayed him and killed him. I believe it was Commander Vermatras, the Dreadlord, that actually killed him on Sylvanas' orders. But in this game, of course, you can't have two factions start in the same cities. Instead, he starts outside of it, and they are about to betray him here. We didn't want them to be allied to start, because then they wouldn't fight. The idea is that they would fight each other. But if you let the AI control both, the chances are that he will just retreat and move back to Dalaran. As the player, if you play as the Forsaken, you can kill him, like in lore. If you play as Marshal Garithos, you can kill Sylvanas instead. He's at a disadvantage here. You might want to retreat and get some reinforcements or hire some mercenaries. So yeah, Lordaeron is much weaker here, but they have access to more mercenaries. And the Kingdom of Storm, when they have access to Lyra Sanguinar, a female, like Sellsword or mercenary. She is a former gladiator and friend of the king, Varian Wryn, unique to this campaign. She was a small kid, I believe, or teenager in the first campaign. It didn't make sense to add her in the first campaign. Okay. We've lost Sunnyglade, Raven Hill, held by Undead. We have one area less here. And they have a new custom general. They have new mercenaries later in the game. Human Expedition Terramore. They start in Terramore. They also have access to Northwatch from the start in this campaign. Conquered Northwatch from the rebels, the rebel bandits. They are still holding Boralus. Here her father Dalen Pradmore is the leader. Tanred Pradmore, her brother, has been moved here. So they have the army at Boralus. Manatil has been lost to their ally, the dwarves of Khaz'Modan. They are still holding Gilneas in this campaign, led by Gan Greymane, leader of the Kingdom of Gilneas, a minor kingdom. They lost Dalaran to Lordaeron. So in this campaign, Lordaeron has Dalaran. It's the only settlement they have, and Gilneas has been added to Terramore. I believe Terramore had Boralus, Northwatch and Terramore itself, but in this campaign I added a new verse. In the classic edition I added Gilneas to. They still have it in this campaign. And Terramore itself is a minor city here. I thought it was a huge city. It is because I remade, I believe I remade the remade the Frozen Throne campaign because I couldn't enter the old one. And I forgot to upgrade the city. It was supposed to be a huge city in this campaign. We also have no buildings at the start. Weird. believe they were supposed to have buildings at the start in this campaign. I think probably that I didn't upgrade the Terramore settlement. Most other areas were upgraded for this campaign, but they must have just let be the same. By mistake, I didn't move over the Terramore capital from the other Frozen Throne file. So it's the same as in the other campaign when it was supposed to be a huge city here with all the structures constructed and troops available at the start. So they are weaker than they should be. Might have to fix that. That's unintended. Yeah, they do have Quel'Thalas here unlike before. The Wars of Khaz'Modan, they have the same areas here. They've also gotten Manitil now. The Dwarven Garrison. And then they have of course Frosthold in Northrend. Where Prince Muradin is, the dwarves. They have the Frost Dwarves.
Command me.
Including Frost Dwarven mercenaries in the region. They also have access to Veldun Keep, where they have some troops in this version, unlike in the latest version of Warcraft War where they do not have this area. And they have Air Peak still. The Blood Elves, they start over here. Scourge holding some of their former high elven areas. Need to take back the areas. 2 areas at the start. Mages are cheaper, take longer time to recruit instead.
I'll do my best.
Alright.
We should move soon.
My men are ready to fight, my lord.
Alright, Blood Elves. They are the same as previously. The new Firestar Demolishers have the Darker Dwarves. This campaign they also hold Dun model over here. General Aradin.
Do not fear.
Nothing new otherwise. The Dark Horde. The whole Altar's Mill. Blackrock Spire. And Belmal Rock. They also hold this area now with a new garrison. Dustbelch Grotto. The Ogre General. Ogre Warriors Bodyguard, and they have some Ogre mercenaries outside too. Alright. Four additional units. No money. Get more. Could get some extra Ogre Stairs mercenaries. They also have this area by for the Ogre Gas Rogue. They got 2 new areas just like in the other version, but the regions are not connected. I believe Dustbelch Grotto is connected to Dreadmaul Rock, so it connects these 3 areas. But when I added these areas to the map, I didn't know that the AI was more likely to move correctly if the areas were connected to each other, so never connected this area with the rest. We could have had this one connected to Dreadmaul Rock and this area connected to Mugrosh and this area connected to Grim Battle. But that's not the case. But they got 2 new areas and some new troops. Half an army in both areas plus mercenaries available. So they are stronger. These kingdoms. Soon the Rude faction has nothing new, but in this campaign they hold Killa as well. That is not news. We have the Night Elves. No, they have some changes. They still hold all the areas are here. They still hold the area here. They hold, they have the general lair of the dire furbolgs. You can hire some furbolg mercenaries here. They still hold this area with the dire furbolgs, but they do not have any buildings. They do not have any night elves here. Instead I moved, because they hold this area too. Feathermoon. The leader Sandris, Feathermoon and Neiros with Isira the Dreamer, the Green Dragonflight leader. And they should be able to hire Green Dragonflight mercenaries here, but not in the beginning of the game probably. And I moved Rain Wolfrunner here. She was in the area of the Dire Furbolgs in Northern previously. I moved her here instead to defend this area. She was better used here. Would be more accurate as well. The Night Elves had an alliance with the Dragonflights, the Green Dragonflights, against the Kiraji. It made sense. Starting here can help conquer the rebel areas here. And yeah, then sooner or later she will have to fight the Kiraji or the Fraki Trolls, two old enemies of the Night Elves. Or they might fight the Scourge over here, or the Burning Legion over here. So yeah, I moved her to this area. She could do some good. We conquer the old Night Elven areas here. We have 13 regions at the start. The Undead Scourge, they hold the same regions as before. Now they have Valkyr garrisons here, not as many as the rebels. We also have a Valkyr bodyguard with the female frost vehicle, the closest I could get to a female frost vehicle. Here they still have the Myriad champions, but Gnetta Tyrsdotter, she has the Valkyr bodyguard now instead of an Myriad champion. They have the same troops and garrisons here as before. And they also started northern with 4 armies, including some Quillboars, Undead Trolls, Orc Skeletons. Thought they made sense here. So they got the Quillboar army because in lore, Razorfen, the area of Razorfen, I believe, joined the Scourge, and they had like some kind of alliance with the Quillboars. But yeah, Undead Trolls and Orc Skeletons made sense in Kalimdor. So they have that in all the armies, and then they have some medium troops. In the past I believe I had basic skeletons here, but they were so bad that 3 full armies lost against 1 Terramore army. So instead I gave them the medium troops. They have some abominations and mages too. Projectiles of the necromancers and cold raids have been changed as well. I believe they are not using the necromancer projectile. I could be wrong about this version. I know in the main version I changed the projectiles to not use that projectile because it caused lag. But in this version they might still have the old one. I don't know, to be honest. I don't remember if I changed it. Hopefully I changed it. If I didn't, I forgot about it. You can get Grim Totem Taurens as mercenaries in Grim Totem areas, and they can get Quillboar ones here in Quillboar areas. Okay, the Darkari Trolls have nothing new compared to the other campaign, and Stormguard starts with Sadror in this campaign. They have Hammer and Parator. Otherwise nothing new, I believe. They have the female officers in their elite units. Drag Trolls, nothing new here. They didn't get Shimmering Flats like in the main release because they are not connected to it. they are separated with the goblins in between. Instead they have access to areas here. Kragi are in this campaign, but they only have this little area, so they still have a lot of room to expand. And the Horde, this campaign they started Vol'jin as well, this Isle, and they started Crossroads, Tarayo, Bracken, Wall. They have Ogres. Ogres are not common to the Horde, they are common to the Dark Horde, but not the Horde. They are extra regionals for this area, Bracken Wall, and for the Dark Horde areas they have taken. Okay, then they have the Tauren areas, Bloodhoof and Thunder Bluff. They have Orc areas. They are stronger, but they have lost the area in these kingdoms for the Burning Legion. They still hold the areas in Northrend. Tonka village, the Tonka troops. No orcs. Start anyway. They have the Tonkas. They used to have a garrison of orcs at Stonehard here, like in World of Warcraft, but felt they blockaded the Legion. It was better to, and the Stormwind would become too strong and take these areas. So yeah, it was better to give this area to the Legion and this area to the Legion to give Stormwind a fight there. Okay, the Burning Legion. So in the Eastern Kingdom, in Kalimdor they have the old areas, including the regions of Quel'Thalas, and they have Alterac, this version, leader Cruel Doombringer. They have the ruins of Quel'Thalas, no leader. They have Dark Lord Kil'jaeden here, and Legion Commander as Galore, and Khaz'Modan still. And then they have Razlik the Defiler, the Dread Lord, Kazak the Supreme, the Doom Lord. They have a Belloc army with some demons that used to belong to the Horde. I replaced some of the orcs with demons and I added the area to the Legion. Yeah, they are now a part of the Legion, so that the Legion can become stronger faster against Stormwind. And they have this area. For some reason they have the wrong portrait. Didn't realize. Forgot to change the portrait. Okay, so they need to still take Marstide Watch from the rebels, bandit rebels, and Netherguard Keep from the wizards there, human wizard rebels. They have an ogre rebel area here, so they still have some rebels to defeat, but unlike before they hold 3 of the areas, so they will their expansion will be faster and they will be able to challenge Stormwind before Stormwind has taken all the areas here and conquered the Gurbashi trolls. Because Stormwind has 2 rebel areas to fight. They have Moonbrook here against bandits, and then they have Ravenhill against Undead. And then they go into the Gurbashi areas and into this area where they used to take this area from rebels, and then take areas here and take areas from Gurbashi. But now when the Legion have a stronger presence, they will probably not get that far. They will take the rebel areas and then they will go in here and take maybe 1 or 2 areas, and then the Legion will have all of this, and then the Gurbashi and the Legion together will be enough to force Stormwind back in some cases. So yeah, the Legion is stronger in the Eastern Kingdoms. You have some access to rebels, mercenaries. The Forsaken could have given them after like in the previous in the main release, but I didn't do it here.
Special place in hell waiting for you.
They are the same as earlier releases, but with new units available. We have no troops at the start. Zombies, human skeletons, ghouls, skeleton soldiers, spearmen and archers. The only basic stuff in the first building there. They need to build up. Okay, zombies, human skeletons, ghouls, skeleton soldiers, spearmen soldiers, dread guards, undead surgeons, and undead weirds. That's the first castle. Get the crypt. Get those units there. Then the old battleground to get all of these. Dread guards, death guards. Put nice Quel'Thalas, Valk here. The graveyard. Have all of these. Including Elven Rangers, Banshees and some others. Get access to the Valkyr sooner from castles. Plague Cemetery. They get Valkyr, Elven Rangers, Darkfallen, Death Blades. Lot of troops. From the Undead Fortress. Dismounted Death Knights, Bloodshades. Undead Champions, Dread God Phalanx. The casters get better troops sooner. Old Battleground. Darkfallen Marquises. Death Knights. Death Knight Bodyguard. Lot of good stuff here. Many troops. And the Undead Fortress. Okay, then we have the Undead Stronghold. Huge amount of troops. If you have too many it would crash. I don't believe we reached the limit. Undead Fortress. Undead Fortress. Yeah, there's a lot of troops here. Alright, so they have many troops that we aren't in the old version. Plus they have access to the Elven skins in this version.
Light curse you.
The Naga faction. I know they have water elementals as mercenaries, they didn't in the past.
Yes, my friend. Watch and learn.
Here they have Murlocs.
I'll handle it.
Maybe the water elementals are not available at the start.
On with it. Very clever.
Here the Murlocs at the start in these areas.
Yes, my friend.
Yeah, only the basic stuff.
Get on with it. Watch and learn.
All the basic Murlocs here. But I don't believe they will crash anymore. So the Murlocs were notoriously unstable in the past. But I believe the reason was the witch, Naga Sea Witch officers. Were ranged units. Whenever the Murlocs switched from melee to ranged, or from ranged to melee, the officers would crash probably. I think that was the case, could be wrong. Remove the officers because I thought they were the reason for the crashes anyway, so if it doesn't crash anymore with the Murlocs it's because the sea witches have been removed as officers. In the past it would fit that the Murloc units were led by a sea witch, but then I start to think they were the reason for the crashes. So they have some new units too. They have the Medusas, the enslaved dragon turtles are kept, and now they have the Medusa matriarchs. Never were their own unit before. Instead they have the bodyguard. That will just result in a new bodyguard general unit. The mages are now cheaper. Take longer to recruit. These guys can go berserk. All the dogs can go berserk. It's fit to dogs. So they have the Medusas and the matriarchs. The Scarlet Crusade. So in Northrend they have a citadel, which they had in the October 31st release as well.
I am here.
They have mercenaries available here, including the Orient Dawn troops and water elementals.
And I do not fear.
We get the Highlanders later in the game, I believe. Unless I only added that to the Frozen Throne mercenary file, and that file was disabled because I thought it was bugged, so I added the other Raven Chaos mercenary file to this campaign and never edited it. They might not have the Highlanders here, I don't know.
I am here.
I didn't add them to this area in this campaign. I have these at least. Sword and board guys. The Orient Dawn troops. The water elementals and the mages. They have a good defensive position. No buildings built. You can get the Scarlet Tracking Hounds. They are not that stable. Right, and then in Eastern Kingdoms,
The men
Tyrion
of Iron
Fordring and Hardglen. Get some troops there as well.
do not fear.
Now they have Celevite Man as a strat model.
Very wise. Right.
She doesn't have a female voice.
By my honor. Do not fear.
Same mercenaries. You also have the leader Zaydan Ratrahan on the map.
Very wise.
He has Uther Lightbringer's voice.
Do not fear.
Both of them have that. Generic voice for all the troops and generals here. No custom voices have been added for these two. That's the case for most of the heroes anyway. Okay. And I don't believe the Scarlet had any new units in this version.
Do not fear. I am here. The men and I are on.
The strat models for these two are new, and the battle models as well. They were not in this old version in the past. Gerbash trolls start with all their areas in this campaign. Have access to the new units. Ankirai, they only started one area, as I said. Ankirai itself, no buildings and no troops buildings. No troops available. And no buildings constructed. They do have their leaders. Finn Emperor Veknilash and Skaram. Rayax. Finn Emperor Veklor and Sertura. She's the only one that has these bodyguard Kiraji Slayers. They have access to slime mercenaries here. All the others have the Kiraji Prophets bodyguard. The mage. Yeah, if you combine everyone to one army, have almost half an army. Need to build up the rebels here. There are one area here somewhere, and another one here. They all have Kiraji rebels full stacks, and then you have the Cenarian Hold, Night Elven and Oak Shaman rebels with full stacks. So it will take a while until Kiraji becomes strong enough to do anything, and by that time the Karaki will have conquered a lot of areas here. The Karaji are very weak at the start of the game, to prevent them from steamrolling the map. The money trolls, they have the new units, they start with the same areas in this campaign as in the other. Goblins, they have the same areas. But the difference is that in this campaign they have way more enemies. In Northrend, the Reek will have these areas, they can't just go there and take them. In the other campaign they have no garrisons at all, not even rebel garrisons here. They can just go and take them and build a strong empire immediately. But in this campaign they will need to fight the Rico and still have the Drakari over here, and then they have the Skull Crusade here, so they can't even take this area. In the other campaign they can probably take this area from the rebels after a fairly easy fight. Here they need to fight the Skull Crusade. Goblins have different mercenaries available in this area. Pirates, Goblin Rebel, Goblin Bombards, Necrolites, Warcraft Skeletons, Human Skeletons. Don't know why the card is missing, to be honest.
My church is the field of
Hartford is still using the old female Grand Skull Crusader strat model, and their assassin is also using that model. We also have the other areas. The Rick faction and new faction. Their capital, they have an army. King Ymeron is their leader. 5 regions. They are no longer allied with the Scourge because they wanted the Scourge to have a challenge. So they are not allied anymore. Used to be allied. And their garrison is slightly different. We can check Halgrin, for example. I replaced the Giant Raiders and Warriors with the new Fighters and Plunderers. Plunder will replace the Raiders or Raider unit in the main release, but here they are a new unit. Fighters are fighters in both. So they have 2 new units instead of those giant males. They have the smaller ones at start. They are more basic and more numbers. Same here. They have the same starting armies with the exception of 2 units that have been replaced. And then the main army, they also have access to the Valkyr. And unlike the other Valkyr, they hold Viking-like shields and swords. Okay, they have more of the Viking plunderers and the Viking fighters as well. They have no troops at start, no buildings. They've just awakened from their sleep. See, they have the Battle Maidens, Spear Sisters and the Viking fighters as their first troops there. Alright. So yeah, the Raiko, they still have the same units except 2. Then we have the rebels. In this campaign the rebels have fewer areas. They have 48 areas instead of 96. They've lost almost half their areas to different factions. Cenarian Hall, they have Druids of Claw, Druids of Talon, they have Treants, they have Keepers of the Grove, and they have Orc Shamans. All of them are Night Elven units except the Orc Shamans. They are mercenaries. The Karaji rebels, they have slimes and different basic Karaji units. They are numerous but not very good. These ones are actually really good. The mages in real time did not resolve, they are not as good. We also have Dryads, cavalry, throwing javelins. Okay, and that's all, I believe. You can exit. And that's all the changes essentially of the classic edition. Thank you for watching. Bye.